Welcome back to another episode of Domestic Vibrance. So today we're going to talk about expectations in a relationship and just, I don't know, maybe overall. I wanted to go a little bit deeper into that because again, this is why we do this, babe, where this is kind of how this whole thing started is us discovering ourselves through each other. I've been fortunate enough to have you as a partner that's allowed me to explore these like areas of myself who kind of act out all the bullshit so then I can get to the truth and ultimately try to become a better man. What are some expectations that you had about relationships like growing up?
I think it was just a traditional belief that you should get married and have kids.
Okay.
I did the opposite.
Oh, okay. So get married, have what did you expect from a relationship? Like what did you expect like your like either your role or what did you expect a husband to do for you or whatever? Or a boyfriend, whatever, if it was like young.
I think it was just a lot of fairy tale stuff. Like I thought that you just find someone and know they're the one, and then you get married and you have a family, and everything's just all good. And I believed that for a long time,
Yeah.
but I learned very early on that it wasn't.
Okay.
I was like, oh,
Gotcha.
I think I was wrong.
Okay. There was a time where you understood like, oh shit, this isn't a fairy tale.
Mhm.
Okay, so and then what happened? So within that, when you found that out, how did your expectations shift? What did they shift into?
Then it turned into just kind of nitpicking everybody else's beliefs and just trying to understand, okay, what is it? Because I didn't have my dad to do that, whether it was family or whatever. So just take a little bit of everybody's beliefs. And then it was just kind of like, just find somebody that's going to do something with their lives. Like, that's what a husband should do.
It was like a safe, more of a security type of thing to
Hmm.
where, and then where you're provided for and everything, and then you just kind of deal with whatever else comes
Yeah,
with it. Yeah, I think that's true. That's probably true for a lot of people.
obviously.
Obviously, well,
I learned the hard way,
oh,
like
okay.
for everything.
Okay, where are you at now with it?
um,
Like where would you say like just in general like for your life and just for in general, how do you see relationships now? Like the expectation of them. Like what do you see them to be?
oh, the problem with me trying to understand or explain what my expectation is for somebody is hard because what I feel that expectations are is that I know that person's going to do that for me, whatever that be.
Hmm.
Or like, they're going to do that just because I expect them to do that.
Oh, okay. So it's like a negative. Does
I don't
oh
know, maybe.
okay, so it does expectation. What is that? What kind of a feeling does that bring up for you? Is it do you see it as a positive thing or a negative thing?
Um, I think more of a negative. Weird, because it doesn't make sense to me as to why another human being would expect somebody to do something. Like, no, they either do it or they done it enough times that you're like, oh, cool, they do that. But I think that's just like something that I
Mhm.
grew up
Okay.
maybe
So
thinking.
in relationships, like in our relationship, you don't have you were saying you don't have any like expectations or where what are some of the things because
I feel like that's not fair.
okay,
I think that's why.
to have expectations.
Uh huh.
Okay, why
But
not?
I don't know because then we were talking a little bit earlier about boundaries, and I guess it's the same thing. So I do have boundaries, but then I don't expect you. I don't know. It's weird because I don't see myself being like, he's going to do that because I know. See it as bad.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll like I here I'm gonna touch on that a little bit. Is that I don't see it as bad.
Uh,
I see it as that you I feel like you give me certain things so you'd be like as your man, you know, that I expect my man to take care of this. It's not that you're making me,
hmm
it's that I want to do these things, you know. So I'm going to speak for every man, you know what I mean? But like, we just want to be useful.
Mhm.
We want to be appreciated, and we want to we just want a job, man. You know what I mean? Like, for real. That's really what it is. It's just like, hey, this is what I need you to do, and then we go and we get it done and we do it well, right? We're very like logical. Here, this is how you do it. These are the steps, you know? And so that plays well into that. And if you learn to utilize that, you can use me for all kinds of shit,
Yeah.
you know? And it's not about being like, oh yeah, I got it like that because my man does whatever I say, you know?
Mhm.
And it's not that, because so that I would say that's like a toxic, or not a toxic, but maybe that's the way you're looking at it, you know, to where it's like things can be taken for granted,
Mhm.
right? And I think we've talked about that a little bit before too, where it could be that, and it could be I have no expectations on you, in which case you can't really fail or do good or whatever. You're just there.
Mm.
Just be a good person and you're there. But that's not really growth in a relationship, and that's not really helping the other person. I would say, just the way I'm looking at it, to help them elevate,
Mm.
you know, and to settle into certain roles and take on more, and go. As a man, especially in a family setting, you know, there's certain things that, you know, like you were saying, fairy tale, and if you go back to like, you know, there was old TV shows in the 90s, right? Like Married with Children, and you call it Love and Marriage, but right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
I used to watch that.
yeah, okay, so the TV shows back then, they portray the man as like, he's got to freaking pay the bills, and he's got a wife that nags, and he's got kids that don't listen, and he's got to do all these things for his family, and poor him, right? Um, but that's not. I don't feel that. You know, I'd rather have the responsibilities and the duties to do, and know that I'm taking care of something, and I feel fulfilled when I do it. You know, it's part of my purpose here within this relationship, within the family, and I see that as like not a negative thing. And I think with proper communication, it won't turn into that, because everything in life is a balance, right? You have no expectation, or you have, I expect him to do everything, you know, and those are like polar opposites. To where if you can, everything's a balance, and you know, in a perfect world, like if you can blend that, you know, to where it's like, I think a blended version of that is gratefulness. You know what I mean? And we're here for a bigger purpose, right? And I understand, and I have confidence that he's taking care of these things, and I know that because, and then I take care of these things, and together we grow. You know, and I would expect you to take care of certain things, because we're a team in this. You know, we're doing different things. We have a family. We have a business. We have different things going on, right? And so I do expect you to do certain things, because the purpose and the goal is bigger than, I would say, the perceived negative expectations, right? And to where I think those ones, because they revolve around family growth and business, you know, within the family, I feel like those are healthy expectations,
Mhm.
because it's more like you're empowering me. It's just like, hey, you got this, and because you don't just got this, you got more. You know what I mean? Like, you can take care of it. I know that, and then I know that I'm helping you to help, for you to realize your duties, or whatever it is that you have to take care of, right? And just overall try to make your life easier, and you make my life easier, while we take on more difficult things in life,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. Yeah. So that makes sense. I was just like, I wanted to just give you a different perspective on what the expectations are. And it's okay. You can have expectations on me. That makes me feel alive. That makes me want to thrive, you know? Okay. So the question is, what expectations did I have on our relationship before that has completely changed now?
Yes.
Jesus. God, a lot of them. I expected you to be like a baseball mom
Oh yeah.
because I was a coach, and I was coaching my youngest boy, and when we got together, that was kind of like I was in the thralls, whatever fucking word that is. I was in the thralls of it. It didn't even make sense. Um, yeah, I was deep into that. And it was like it was work, and then that, and then also, I had another sport, volleyball, with my daughter too, and um, I expected that. I didn't realize how much I expected that, but I expected that at first, and that's completely flipped upside down. So that was for sure. That was the one.
So what is it now?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it changed from that to like a new one thing. I think now I don't think I have any expectations for you to be something for me. I think my expectations shifted, and it shifted from me for what I expected of you to I expect to the expectation is on you for you now.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect you to more or less show up for you. I expect you to find what it is that your calling or purpose is, and I think that's something that's going to evolve over time and be revealed to you more and more as we go. And now it's more about I expect you to just find your way. And I'm not saying you're lost, but just to find whatever it is that you're going for and always go for more. So now I expect that from you. I expect growth. I think I think that's it
Okay.
in simple terms. I expect growth.
Yeah.
Mhm. Were there any like relationship rules or like values that you brought in that you thought were like non-negotiable before we started, or when we first got together, when you were sizing me up as a long-term partner?
Sizing you up.
That's what we do, baby. Or if he
Oh
does
wait, yeah, I
this,
did. I had a list, but I forgot what it was.
you did make a list. I know that I crossed off. It was like a list of either five, six, or
Qualities.
seven qualities, like up to five, six, or seven. I remember you showed it to me later, but this was before we got together. Like you had written it before that. It was like six qualities or something, or seven qualities, and I had all but one or something like that. So you don't remember what they were though? Yeah, no,
Mm-mm.
me either. I know that I possessed them though,
Yeah.
like most of them.
I don't know what it was, but
Okay.
yeah, that I did. So, but it's not something I can even talk about because I don't know what it was.
You remember? Okay.
What's an expectation that we have for each other that you think is working?
Growth,
Okay.
growth in every way, and that's working. I know it's working for me. So what I mean by that is starting a business, moving forward in something, right? Um, I think everything that we do is even in our arguments and our fights, and the challenges we take on and everything. I did you just
Sorry.
present me right now? That was nice. I wish you would do that more often. That was nice. I felt it. Um, yeah, I think growth in every way is working for us. No matter what. Like I was saying, even the fights, the arguments, everything that we do, it's for the purpose of us growing. That's it. I think what's cool is that what used to take us, weeks, days, weeks, months, whatever, is we're having quick turnarounds with challenges, and things are starting to, I believe, like resolve within us, and we're coming out of. It's like I feel like we put ourselves in these like situations to like challenge each other, like argue and fight, like they get brought up and to surface, and every time that we try to take a step forward, it's like nope, you got to resolve this. It's like okay, and then I just feel like we're gathering momentum, And as we're just taking on challenges, we're moving a step closer. And so what it feels like is if if we want to go 3 steps forward, we got to dig 3 steps down. I feel like we have to find something within ourselves that's going to allow us to take those steps forward. So in order for us, and what I mean by 3 steps down is like internally, we got to cut through some shit in order for us to step forward. And I feel like that's kind of how this thing works as far as like life maybe, but definitely within relationships. What's one way we've worked together to align our expectations?
You stop going out and stop
Yeah,
drinking.
we stopped drinking.
Oh, well, we can go out, but
Yeah, but we didn't go out places to drink, right?
yeah.
Now it's like we go places to experience it, where before it was just like, oh man, I'm just gotta be turned up everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Pre-game it, drink there, and then more when we get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nasty. Well, we think it's nasty now,
Mhm.
just because we knew why we were doing that, and then we kind of came together and it aligned in a way for us to grow here. This podcast.
Uh-huh.
This very thing right here is a way that we work together to align our expectations. And those expectations were growth. That's what it's really centered around in every way, right? Whether that's um, in our relationship, that's as parents, that's with business and like a new venture, and just setting on a new path. This podcast right here is a way that we aligned our expectations. We both wanted something different, a different type of life, and then these are the steps that we came together.
I think I put together 2 of the questions
Hmm.
because I was thinking that it was like an alignment from before or something. That's why I thought of that.
Oh, we're like, I had mine, you had yours, and then we worked together to bring them together.
Yeah.
I think it's just our union or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
It's kind of naturally doing that. And we're back.
We're back now.
What's a funny or surprising expectation you had about me that didn't turn out to be true?
Always be mellow.
Oh, really? It didn't turn out to be true. I'm fucking intense.
No, not intense. I'm just saying. That was like the expectation I had. Like, I think that's what I thought was safe. Like, if there's just like if everything's just calm all
Mellow.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I expected you to be real like social, outgoing, and like I think more like where you can like take a joke and like stuff like that. And then I definitely was wrong about that, because then I saw the sensitive side to you.
Oh yeah.
And then more of like the introverted side of you,
Yeah.
like pretty quickly. And it went, I remember the shift. Well, not the shift, but I remember I had this idea about you, and I was just like, oh man, she's like everything that either she's like me, but then like to a 10, like turned up to a 10.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, oh yeah. And then as I saw you kind of like go, I was like, oh no, you're actually an introvert. Oh no, actually you're not that like out there and like to be social so much.
Yeah. I don't really like it.
And then what's crazy, I was just like, yeah, me too. And so what that led me to, and we'll touch on it a little bit, but what that led me to was like the masks that we put on, both of us. And I think what happened, again, I'm speaking for both of us, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what happened was it got to a place kind of early to where we just went mask off, you know? And it was almost like we just kind of like we can just be ourselves around each other. And it wasn't like, man, I don't got to go and be all super social and be like this, or like, and it happened real early with us.
Mhm.
where the mask kind of like came off, where it was just like, oh, okay, I don't have to be like out there and loud and social and like go everywhere. And I think that's what happened is we got together and it was just like, okay, this is something new.
What is the most unrealistic romantic movie gesture? Someone building a house for you or knowing what you meant by a vague follow your heart text?
The vague follow your heart text. Building a house for you?
That's like what is that movie?
The Notebook?
Oh yeah.
Is that it? I don't know.
Probably.
Listen, building a house for you? Nah, because my brother did that for his wife.
Oh.
So that's to me, that's realistic.
Mhm.
He literally bought a house, tore it down to the studs, and rebuilt it. All of it, like basically did it on his own. So yeah, that's not unrealistic. Either that or my brother watched that. He watched The Notebook and was just like, "This is it, baby," which I wouldn't doubt. But that's pretty fucking amazing that he was able to do that. I still admire him for that. I think I always will. That's pretty cool. So probably the vague text.
Follow your heart.
Yeah. Okay. Like, what do you do with that? What's my heart say? Well, my heart wants Taco Bell. If I sent you that text, you just go right to fucking Taco Bell. All right.
But it's funny.
That was a good question. How do you think pop culture, right? Whether that's movies or whatever, just popular culture has shaped our expectations of love, success, or happiness? How do you think that's shaped it?
Putting too many expectations. Right? That's what it would be. Like as far as movies and social media portraying to have this perfect life and this there's no problems. I feel like that's what's being pushed, especially to little girls.
Oh, yeah, social media. Yeah, you're right because that's pop culture.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, it's
Oh,
true, right?
that's I don't know.
No, that's true. It's what it is. It's pop culture. Um, yeah, right. Because everyone just posts their highlight reels.
Yeah, nobody will. I mean,
Should we do that?
what?
Just post our fights? Just kidding. But yeah, like right, everyone just posts their highlight reels,
Yeah.
and so that creates like a unrealistic. It shapes our expectations to be like if our relationship isn't, it causes comparison big time.
Yeah, I feel like it causes a lot of things. It's comparison, it's the micro relationships that we were talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, think about this. Like, what happens when you would get in a fight or an argument? Just couples in general, right? What do? You guys, we separate or we, right? We don't talk, we don't engage, and then we go right to our phones. And usually when we go to our phones, we're going to social media. So if you're in the middle of a fight, you're in the middle of an argument, or you're in a place in your relationship and you're just in it, you're in your feelings, and you think, like, oh, okay, this is like either hopeless or like, oh my God, why don't she just do this? Or why don't she just do that? Or whatever crap I'm telling myself at the time, or you're telling yourself, whatever. And then you go on social media and then you see the perfect pictures, all the filters, the vacation, the this.
Oh, yeah, that
And
makes
then
sense.
it's like, right? It's just like in your face. And then it's just like, I don't know, causes more separation. It could, you know what I mean?
It
Depends on
could.
how you look at it. A healthy person will look at it and be like, hey, you know what? We need to go on a trip. We need to go and do this. That'd be a great way to look at it. But in reality, it's kind of hard to get out of that because you go right to it. You go right to social media, right? It's usually the go to,
Yeah.
right? And then you start seeing other people's relationships. You see, there's something in you that's gonna compare. Or so that's like everything's great, and then they reach the challenge, like in the rom coms. That's like, oh, they're just friends, and then they just have this beautiful love, and then it gets real and it gets serious, and then some event happens, and then they split, and it's just like, dude, why would that break them up? We've been through worse, way worse shit than that.
Mhm.
And it's like it breaks them up, and then they go apart, and then they come back together at the end.
Yeah.
And they find like, oh no, it was just real. This was real love or whatever their lesson that they learn.
I think people forget the reality that goes into that because it's like you guys like separated first. So what happened the whole time?
Mm-hmm. Were you doing work? You know what I mean? Where you get trying to win the bet? Like, nah, you know, I don't know. It's like that movie, The Breakup. That shit was
They're just like out
more
partying.
reality. I like The Breakup better because they didn't end up together at the end.
The breakup.
Remember that with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. What roles do platforms like podcasts play in reshaping these narratives of unrealistic expectations and into actual authenticity? And I think it plays a huge role. And I think that's literally what we're doing now,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just being able to talk about it. Have you ever caught yourself measuring life, like your life, against something from pop culture or anything like that?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
With like the handful of movies I've watched.
Talking about like relationship wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it would be like definitely pop culture, but it was more than just relationship. It was just where I was at in life at my age. Just, you know, where I thought, where I believed I thought I should be, you know, based on like social media and, you know, people around me and stuff. Right. So I think now I look at it as like, I don't see it that way anymore as far as like I'm comparing myself just because I put value in different things now,
Mm-hmm.
where before I only put value in what I could produce and provide. Now I understand the value I bring, and maybe my superpower or the main value I bring is going to be something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just learning in new ways of utilizing like who I am and how to incorporate that into this world and not compare myself to people who do it a different way.
Yours was about yourself.
Um, yes,
Okay.
more so. I would say more so with the social media thing. So it's like measuring my life.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It was more of like out of an ego thing
So you
before.
did that with social media, not with
Yeah, with
movies?
social media, even before we got together, and just like, and then even while while we've been together, I've noticed myself comparing my life.
Do you think it's fair for parents to expect their kids to follow the same life path that they did? Or should they embrace the new direction for them?
For me, that's an easy question,
Yeah.
but that may not be easy for that may not be easy for other people though. Yeah, definitely, just let them help guide them, let them find their own path. You know, I yeah, that was a that's that I can see that what used to be an expectation, maybe ingrained in our culture, like growing
Yeah.
up, right? It's just like you
Yeah.
follow like what your dad does or what your mom does, and I think now it's a little bit different.
Mhm.
I think now now I see things like, oh man, that's terrible. You're forcing somebody's. You don't know what their life path is.
Yeah.
You're just forcing them to go into something that may not be for them.
Well, the reason it's easy for you is because you're more open minded. The reason it's easy, it's an easy question for me is because I grew up in a household full of creators.
Yeah,
So to allow your child to create something on their own or whatever they want to do, it was just taught to you just embrace that.
yeah. I didn't come up like that. Felt myself for a lot of my life lost, looking for what's my purpose, like where do I fit in, what am I good at, what can I do, um and I never really explored that until like now.
Wait, so you weren't always open minded to it?
No, well, I don't know. I think I was just so lost that in my own thing, that I think I always on my kids, I just wanted them to not be lost, so my main thing for them was to find what they love to do.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why I put them in sports. different sports, music, stuff like that. Just find what you love to do, find what you're good at. And in the meantime, if it's not something that you want to do, if you try something, at least you know it's what it's like to try something, to not be good at it because you're just starting. Like try something new, get good at it, work hard, fail a little bit, and then you get a life lesson at the end. I just kind of and always encourage them to try new things.
That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like people are open to that, right? That's more generalized. To like just have their kids try different things and just here, what do you like, try to figure it out with them.
Yeah, none of them
What
are
do you
going
like?
pro. I mean, it's very rare they're going to go pro at the age of like 8,
Yeah,
like 10, 11, anything like that.
just let them try it.
Let them try it. Let them fail. Do you
Mm.
think the pressure to meet pop culture expectations is stronger now because of social media, or is it just more visible?
I think it's just more visible. Just alone the Disney movies.
The
The
Disney movies, you mean like the princess stories,
uh-huh,
right? Okay.
yeah, they're crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially Cinderella's story.
Yeah, it's wild.
Probably part of my shit, why I believed it was supposed to be this certain way.
Fucking Cinderella bullshit. Who do I got to talk to?
Shit pissed me all the ways off.
I got to talk to your mom.
Yeah, and then you just think like somebody's just gonna save you.
I have the same answer. I have the same answer in that it's just more visible. Now I think we're going through the same things that I think that's why history is very important. And I think that we're going through the same things, a lot of the same things now that generations were going through before us, just in different forms. How has the rise of influencers and like social media feeds, how have they changed the way we perceive others' lives versus their realities? It's not that you shouldn't meet your heroes, it's just that they should have never been your heroes to begin with. We shouldn't look to somebody and be like and idolize them above ourselves. And I think that's what social media is proving. I think authenticity is so to bring this back around from earlier, I think authenticity is on the rise, and that's becoming the new value, right? And I think that one vibes high. I think authenticity is vibrating at the highest form that it possibly could, right? With love, like love and authenticity. So I think where people have this perception of social media to be a very negative thing,
Mhm.
I'm really looking at this now, and my perspective is because that was a belief that was given to me, and I almost wanted to believe it. Like, yeah, social media sucks, Like, yeah, man, it's just showing me this and that. Until I realized that, oh, it's just whatever I focus my attention on, and if I'm focusing on what's true to me, then that's what I'm gonna see. Celebrities aren't in my algorithm. I don't follow any celebrities. Most of mine is gonna be like podcast hosts, and influencers that are in the health and wellness space. That's not where I thought that the conversation would go around expectations, but I'm glad that it went there.
Why?
I don't know. I thought that we were going to focus more on like expectations about each other, and then in talking about it, I realized that our expectations really are moving towards healthy expectations. And I think it was cool because I think you and I, like you had an idea about expectations before we had this talk. And I remember you had told me that you were just like, hey, I just want you to be a decent person, you know? And I think that's like first of all, it's a beautiful expectation to me to be just like just a decent person. Right. And I think that, you know, expectations is such a broad thing, and it kind of just it translates into so many different areas of our lives. And I think, which is cool because that's what we're here to do, is that when we sat and talked about it, um, that we were able to see that there are healthy expectations that we can put on each other. And the fact that I'm able to tell you, here that there are expectations that I want you to put on me, you know, because and there's expectations that are on you as well, because we're moving towards something, you
Mhm.
know, and that those can be healthy ones, and they can be more of like shift from negative into a positive, to where I expect from you in a partner, in a relationship, as a business partner, and you can expect in me that I'm going to show up and I'm going to do this for us because we have a greater good in mind. We have a purpose. I mean, we have like a mission and a goal, right? We have a quest, whatever you want to call it. We can come together and just make sure that we're keeping each other accountable for that, because we're both just going to grow with it.
Mhm.
So I think that I learned that today, was that there can be healthy expectations, and I just, just to tell you, like, hey, give them to me. Let me
Yeah.
know. What do you think? What'd you get from this?
I wasn't really looking at expectation in a different perspective. It was just what I knew.
Yeah. And that was cool because we were able to look at it, and just by talking about it, which is what this is all about. Just by us talking about it, you maybe had a negative, uh you looked at expectations as being maybe negative.
I think somewhere in my life that expectation related to trying to control a male.
Mm, that's
And so because when you brought it up, I remember my uncle coming, he stopped by for something. I don't know, it was like to check my car or something. And I had just gotten groceries and they were still in the trunk.
mhm.
And he wanted to take them inside for me. It- And I was like, no, because I'm not used to that stuff. I wasn't used to that stuff at the time. And I was like, no, why? And then
Yeah.
he was just like, don't be weird. And that's what it reminded me of. If I didn't, if it wasn't messed up then,
Mhm.
I feel like I would have been like, yeah, that's what guys do, because it was like cases of water and stuff.
Yeah. Heavy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's what I keep saying, that's what this is all about, right? Is us talking and figuring some shit out, just having like an open like conversation about it.
Mm,
And then I see that as like, okay, like that's something you can go and deeper with later and figure out like why, you know what I mean? But it's just, it starts with the expectation, our perception, and then being able to reframe it,
mm,
you know, and see that there are healthy stuff, that it can be healthy as well, and it can be used for growth. I wanted to also say that I had like, and I wanted to talk about it here. I reframed kind of how I looked at, um, I looked at love with this topic of expectation. And so
mhm,
I want to go into it like on another uh episode, okay? But just to like leave it here with that, this topic of expectations led me to explore something as far as like what being in love is, and how expectations, and how we were talking about pretty much all episode, which is like pop culture and influences, right? I had expectations of getting you to fall in love with me.
mhm.
And I think that's taught to us. It's like, it's like, hey, you know what? You get a girl to fall in love with you. Hey, you write them letters, you do this, you write, love me, love me. Ever since you're a little kid. I remember when I was in fifth grade, I had like a crush, I guess. And my uncle, who was, I think he was in like high school at the time, right? He wasn't much older than me. And I used to write every Friday a note to her and put it in her cubby box. So that's been like ingrained in me. You know what I mean? Is to get a girl to fall in love with you.
Yeah.
So now I'm seeing that in our relationship. And then like I said, just the thought of expectations and thinking about how we're going to, talk about it tonight, is something happened to where I go, if I just switch it from getting her to fall in love with me, my, that's not my goal. That's trying to almost like force something and come off, and like I said, I want to explore it more, but I feel like my role should be to get you to fall in love with you more. And just the topic of this showed me how I, if I, my goal shouldn't be to get you to fall deeper in love with me. Is my goal should be for you to get you to fall deeper in love with you. Because if I'm your mirror, I want to show you the best version of you.
Mm.
And if I keep it like that, it's no longer a self-serving need, but it makes me feel amazing. I know if I can get you to believe more in you, to fall deeper in love with who you are by just shit like this, by just talking about expectations,
Mm.
by talking about expectations and allowing you to like come up with different questions for yourself and question your beliefs and stuff like that. If I can just get you to fall deeper in love with you, and I want to explore that next time or as that comes up. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Engage. We have questions, and if anyone else has questions or things that you would like for us to bring up on the podcast, please comment, message us, email.
Yeah, I think I have everything on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's a wrap.
Mhm.
All right. Good night.
Okay, bye.